Welcome back to lecture 7 on computational methods and MATLAB. So, this is in this lecture we have been we shall be discussing about the solution of differential equations. So, first we shall discuss about ordinary differential equations or ODEs, popularly known as ODE. If you can ODE, you can call it ODE. So, you can just get to the look at the computer screen. So, if you recall, we have been discussing about, for example, we have already discussed about MATLAB general, operators and special characters, language and elementary matrices and matrix manipulations. We have also described about different kinds of specialized matrices. So, elementary math functions are easy. I have already told you, for example, if you click here, you can see that just you can see these are the elementary math functions. Help, you just put LMAT. So, these are elementary help LMAT. So, these are elementary matrices and help L1 is the elementary math function. So, these are something which you know, most of the things is known to you. I am not getting into details of this. So, today we shall get into another topic, that is functions of functions or ODE solvers. Then we will get back to data analysis and Fourier transform interpolations in some other class, because differential equation solutions you need at a very early stage of your engineering or scientific career while solving different systems. So, I must deal with it first before going into the matrix functions or numerical linear algebra, Fourier transforms, interpolations and polynomial. Apart from that, sparse matrices, as I said, is not very much required for as far as your education till post graduation is concerned most of the time, but I will deal with in the end. 2-dimensional graphs, 3-dimensional graph I shall deal whenever, as and when it is required. Then we shall deal with images, file input output, audio video and data types and structures. That is it. So, we will be dealing with time series, and that is all about the basics of MATLAB before you move to Simulink. So, now we shall talk about differential equation solutions, which is there in FUN. You can just see FUN. So, in FUN you have got, apart from the differential equation solutions, you have got minimization functions, different kinds of minimizers, finding the zero of the function, optimization setting, then numerical integration, plotting, that is function plotting, then inline function definition, then differential equation solutions, so many of them. Order 4, 5, 2, 3, 1, 1, 3, 2, 3, t, etc. These are ordinary differential equation solutions. Then we have got computing the consistent initial conditions for ordinary differential equation solutions. So, some of the differential equations which are difficult to solve, for example, they are called stiff differential equations. So, for them we have got different other subroutines like ODE15S, ODE23S, etc. Then we have something called differential algebraic equations, DAEs. So, where there are something there are number of equations, you have to find out the differentiation from that by algebraic manipulation. Then you have got boundary value problems which can be solved by BB4C, and then partial differential equation solvers. This is one dimensional partial differential equation solutions. Then you have got how to then input output, how to plot the time series after the differential equation solution is obtained. So, these are some of the functions, and out of them the first thing which I will do is ordinary differential equations, or in short ODEs. So, first of all, what is an ordinary differential equation? So, any equation of the form dy by dt is equal to f of yt is an ordinary differential equation. It could be dy by dt or d to the power n by dt n, d to the power n minus 1 by dt n minus 1 y, maybe c1, like that, up to y1 is equal to some function of yt. So, this is called ODE. Only one derivative is present, but whenever y involves variations in more than one variable, that is known as partial differential equations, or PDEs. ODE is actually y is just a function of t, it is not a function of other variables. But sometimes when you solve, for example, you want to solve the temperature of a particular room, heat flow, mass flow, etc., generally it involves partial derivatives, where you will have partial differential equations like this: del square x by del square y by del x square plus del square y by del t square, del square y by maybe del z square, etc. So, these are some of the derivatives which will be present, and these are known as, suppose let us say k1. So, these are known as partial differential equations. So, now we shall discuss about this PDEs later on. So, today we shall discuss about ODEs, ordinary differential equations. So, we will pick up a particular differential equation, say 10 dy by dt plus y is equal to t e to the power minus 2t. So, this is a differential equation, and this is a first order differential equation because you have got only one first derivative present here. So, it is called a first order differential equation. So, you must have a flavor how to solve differential equations, linear differential equations analytically. So, you must have done this course in mathematics, but to solve this equation it will involve eventually the solution will have some constants. So, these constants must be evaluated by knowing the initial conditions. So, this is a first order differential equation. So, you must know at least one initial condition, that is what is the value of yt when t is equal to 0, otherwise what is the value of y0 you must know. Suppose in this case it is 2. So, the initial condition is known. So, you can solve it analytically, but how to solve it numerically? You can go for a step by step method known as Euler's method, where you can express, for example, you can express the whole thing like dy by dt will be equal to t e to the power minus 2t minus y whole divided by 10. So, then you discretize the time axis. How will you discretize? Choose a time step h. So, start at time t is equal to 0, then go to the next step, then go to the next step, then go to the next step, so on and so forth. So, in this case you can write dy by dt as yk plus 1 into h minus ykh at time t is equal to, let us say, k, h will be equal to divided by h. This is only approximated. that is time t is equal to k plus, that means time t is equal to k plus 1 h, then time t is equal to, so this is k plus 1, time t k plus 1 and time k is kh. So therefore we are basically trying to find out yk plus 1 by y minus yk by h. So this is the approximation of the derivative. In this case h has to be small for this approximation to hold good, is it not? So this is called the approximation of this differentiation with respect to t. So therefore you can discretize this whole thing, like you can write yk plus 1 minus yk divided by h will be equal to tk into e to the power minus 2 tk minus yk divided by 10, where tk is equal to k into h, that is the kth step. So from this you can write k plus 1 y, or yk plus 1 will be equal to yk plus h into tk e to the power minus 2 tk minus yk divided by 10. Right. So once you start with k is equal to 0, y is equal to y0 will be equal to given, that is the initial condition which is given to be equal to your 2. So you can start solution from this point, is it not? So this is called step by step method of solution. So you can write a program, in MATLAB to solve this equation. Let us write a program to solve this equation. This is a first order differential equation. Let me write a program. So you can start writing. You know y0, that is you can write y0 or y0 is equal to 2. So you can write for k is equal to 1 to, let's say I want to solve for, let's say 100 steps or 200 steps, let's say, and I will take h to be, let's say 0.01. So I can write y k plus 1 is equal to, so I can write here to be y, the first one, y1 is equal to 2, y k plus 1 is equal to y k plus h into tk. What is tk? You can write tk is equal to, I will write k minus 1 into h, so that I will have the first value will be 0. So that first value will be 0. So h into tk into exponential or t in bracket k into exponential to the power minus 2 into t k, right, minus y k divided by 10. So I can write then plot. So this step I am doing this step to equate the dimension of t with y, otherwise you cannot plot. So t comma y. Let's see. So in this, what I have done, you can see the, let me write it, my first lesson. Then I can write first program, you can write try one, let's say. So here you can see that I have chosen some h. So in the first lecture, if you see the lecture 1, you can remember that how to choose h is a difficult thing. So this h depends upon several factors, and one of them in this case is a linear system of equations, linear differential equation. So it will depend upon the largest time constant of the system, which will be decided by the left hand side by making the right hand side equal to 0. Here the equation is like this. 10 dy by dt plus y, equate the right hand side to be equal to 0. So, dy by dt plus y by 10 is equal to 0. So, from this equation you can find out the time constant. By solving the characteristic equation you can solve. So, you can see that this is d minus 1 by 10 into y is equal to 0, where d is an operator which is d by dt. So, this decides the time constant. So, if the one of the roots of this equation is 1 by 10, is it not? Therefore, you can see t is approximately equal to 10. So, let us solve it. If you solve it, so this you can get it from your if you take any book like Kreyszig or something. So, you can see the differential equation solution. From this you can find out the roots of this equation, the roots of this particular left hand side with this operator d by d replaced by d by dt by replaced by d. So, you get one of the roots as 1 by 10. So, this is known as the pole of the equation in control system, pole of the system, or you can say this is the pole of the system. So, here it is 1 by 10 minus 1 by 10 plus, because this is d by d plus 1 by 10, because this is plus. So, this is t is equal to the one of the roots is at 1 by minus 1 by 10, which is one of the roots. So, this decides the time constant. 1 upon that is approximately 10 is the time constant. So, therefore, 0.01 is supposed to be all right. So, now let me run this program. This is perfectly fine. So, it is coming down from 2, it is coming to 0. Okay, if I solve it for let us say 2000 steps, you can see. So, this is with respect to time, this is falling down, as you can see here. So, the actual solution of this differential equation is, if analytically if you solve this equation, that is 10 dy by dt, if you solve this equation analytically, that is 10 dy by dt plus y is equal to t e to the power minus 2t with initial condition y0 is equal to 2, the actual solution of this equation is yt, which is equal to 732 e to the power minus t by 10 minus 19t e to the power minus 2t minus 10 e to the power minus 2t by 361. So, this is the actual solution by analytical method. So, if you compare these two, you will find they will exactly match. So, we are not going to waste much time here. So, if you even if you reduce the time step, let us say, even if you reduce the time step, the solution still remains same. But if you let us say increase the time step to 0.1, the solution is not changing, because you see it is going up to 200 seconds. But if you further increase the time step, let us say make it something like 8 seconds. So, this is going to get disturbed, as you can see here, it is already gone. You can see here the equation has become really approximation, that means there is something wrong. You can just go to let us say up to 20 steps, see. So, this has become, this shape of the curve has been destroyed, and if you increase beyond 10, let us say make it 15 or so and take less number of steps, because you can see the equation has lost the meaning. It is an exponential curve which has become oscillatory. That is because you have taken the time step which is much more than the natural time constant of the system. If you take 10, let us say what is happening, you can see it is becoming a straight line. It also lost the property. But if you take less than 10, so if you take 5, so it is coming back slowly to the actual solution. So, you can say that by choosing the time step is very vital in solving the differential equation. So, choosing the time step is vital. If you make it too small, then computational time will be too large. For instance, if I make this h to be 0.001, let us say, but I am interested to solve it for, let us say, 2 seconds, that means you have to 2 seconds by 2 by 0.001, that means if I want to solve it for 20 seconds, you will find you have to solve 20,000 steps, which is very, it will take long time. Therefore, but it is not necessary, because by reducing the time step you approximate better, but actually if you increase the time step you are not losing much, because your time constant is 10 seconds. So, there is a theorem in signal processing called Shannon's sampling theorem. Also you can, if there is a decay time of 10 seconds, then you can choose 1/10 of this, that is 1 second is sufficient. You can take 1 second, you will not lose much, you can see. If you want to solve it for 20 seconds, let us say, so make it 20 or 30 seconds, you can solve easily, as you can see here. But if you want to solve for 50 seconds, you see, so this is the step. But if you increase this, as you see that the property is lost, if you decrease the computational time is high. Therefore, you have to be very, you have to judiciously choose the time step. If it is a linear differential equation, that means the coefficients are all constant, coefficients of the terms of dy by dt, d square by y, d square y by dt and y all are constants, then it turns out to be a linear difference, and right hand side there is no y, function of y. So, this turns out to be a linear differential equation, and in those cases it is easy to find out the time step. You can just find out the characteristic equation of the left hand side by equating the right hand side or the forcing function to be 0. Then after equating the forcing function 0, you find out the roots. From these roots, one upon the roots will give you the approximately the time constant time. So, from this time you can easily find out which one is your which one is the least time constant, or from the least time constant you can just take 1/10 of the least time constant, and that is it, 1/10 or 1/20th of it will give you a good solution. But if it is nonlinear, if you remember the simple pendulum system which I discussed in the first lecture, I think. So, in the first lecture, this is a nonlinear equation, and choosing the time constant, time step for the nonlinear equation is very difficult. Therefore, you have to do some other approximate analysis, or you have to find out linear system which is closely resembling this nonlinear system in a particular range, and then find the time constant of the linear system, and then solve it. So, these are some of the cases, and also there are systems where which are known as stiff. So, in stiff system the solution is not so easy. So, we will be discussing few of them, not all of them. It is up to you to find out your problem and take one of these ODEs, ordinary differential equation solvers. Till now we have just done one step by step solution. We have not yet gone to the ordinary differential equation solvers. So, now let us take a typical equation and try to use ordinary differential equation solutions. Before that, so as I said that step by step equation generates lot of error. So, what I am interested to do is I shall go for what is known as very interesting solution method in numerical methods, and everybody knows is the Runge-Kutta methods and their modified versions. So, because as you know the step size when it is increased, you are going to commit mistakes, and if it is too small then your computational burden will be high. Therefore, you have to choose a step size where you are not going to make the computational burden high, at the same time you want to maintain the accuracy. So, with a larger step size you can have better accuracy. So, the standard method to analyze the error because of step size is the Taylor series expansion. For instance, suppose you have a function yt, you are making step by step solution by taking h. So, if you know yt at time t is equal to t, then what will be it plus h? So, according to Taylor series expansion, if you put yt plus h will be equal to yt plus h y dash t, that is y dash t is dy by dt. Then h square by 2 y double dash t, like that. If you take higher order terms, if h is small, the more the power of the h, the smaller will be the value. Therefore, this approximation will decide how much error you are going to introduce by taking how many terms. Suppose you are terminating after the first term, that means you want to approximate like this. So if you approximate like this, it is just like the one which we did. That means we approximated y dash t to be equal to y t plus h minus y t divided by h. So what is the order of error you are going to introduce here? You are neglecting these terms. So since you are neglecting, the order of error is O h square. But suppose you take up to the second order term, then you are the order of error is O h cube. If you take up to fourth order, that is, then order of error will be h to the O h 5. So if h is, let us say, 0.1, in that case the order here is 0.01, the order here is 0.0001, that is 10 to the power minus 5. This is the kind of error which will introduced if you take fourth order. That means you are approximately up to fourth. And if you take second order, you are approximating up to second. After that, you are neglecting. So when you take these orders, these methods, standard methods, are known as Rangakuta method. So approximately a second order Rangakuta method will be looking like this. So yk plus 1, yk plus 1 means y at t is equal to k plus 1 into h, that is yk plus 1. So will be equal to, I will write yk, I will take some weight w1 into g1 plus w2 into g2. This is the approximation, where g1 is equal to h f of tk yk and g2 is equal to h f of tk alpha h and yk plus beta h fk. So what is this f? This f is the f I told in the beginning. This f will be the, just I will just tell you this f. That is dy by dt is equal to f of ty. This is what we have already done, is it not? So this is the kind of equation we are trying to solve. So this is dy by dt is equal to f of ty. So that means you have to express a first order. It is actually coming from a first order differential equation. If you have a multiple order differential equation like d square, then we have to reduce it to first order. We will see how to reduce it. So this is the equation. Okay. So that means dy by dt. So h f t k y k, and what is t k? T k is equal to k into h. T k plus 1 will be k. So now the point is you have to find out what is W1, W2 and what is alpha and beta. H is known, H is known. So this will be found out by the second order Taylor series expansion. So if you put this whole thing into the second order Taylor series expansion like this one, so I will terminate up to this point, we will take up to this point, all other points will neglect. So you are just yt plus h you expand. Okay, so yk plus 1, that means y. So yk plus 1 means, so yk plus 1 you just expand, it is you make yk plus 1 into h, that is same as yk plus 1, that will be equal to yk plus h into y dash k, that is derivative of first order derivative of y at k plus h square by 2 into y double dash k. If you equate, so then you know another equation is yk plus 1 will be equal to yk plus w1 g1 plus w2 g2, and you also know that g1 is equal to h into f tk yk and g2 is equal to h f of t k alpha h, then yk plus beta h f k. This is what you know. If you substitute these things, you just when you substitute these things into this, let's see what is happening. So you will find that W1 plus W2, again make Taylor series expansion of this. You can make Taylor series around this f tk plus tk yk. So I am not going into details. You can refer to any book. Just I will make the final statement, because this is not a course for numerical methods. So you will find that W1 plus W2 will become 1 by 2, W1 into alpha will become half, and W2 into beta will become half, right. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 unknowns are there, 3 equations. Therefore, you can choose alpha and beta, then you can find out W1, W2, right. If you choose alpha and beta to be 1, 1, you can find out what is the value of W1, W2, right. W1 and W2 should be half. So therefore, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 unknowns, 3 equations, 1, 2, yeah, 4 unknowns, 3 equations. Therefore, you have to choose one. So therefore, if you choose alpha is equal to 1 by 2, if you choose alpha is equal to 1 by 2, you can find out the value of W1. Therefore, you can find out W2, you can find out beta, right, because W1 will be 1. You cannot be, it can be 1 by 2, you can make it 1 by 4 or 1 by 8. You can make it 1 by 4, then you can calculate value of W1. So this represents a family of second order Runge-Kutta methods. You can choose values of alpha, beta and W1, W2, so that they will satisfy all these 3 equations, right. So one of the parameters can be chosen independently. Similarly, for a fourth order Runge-Kutta method, you will have to take 4 terms. For a fourth order Runge-Kutta method, so you have to approximate it up to fourth order Taylor series. So you can write yk plus 1 is equal to yk plus W1 G1 plus W2 G2 plus W3 G3 plus W4 G4, where G1 is equal to H into F Tk Yk. So what is F? It is just the one dy by dt is equal to F of Ty. This was F. This is the first starting point of our solution. First order differential equation, which is looking like this. So if it is not first order, then we can reduce to first order. We will see how to reduce to first order. Then G2 will be equal to H into F of Tk plus alpha 1 H into and Yk plus alpha 1 G1, right. Then G3 is equal to H into F of Tk alpha 2H Yk plus beta 2 G2 plus alpha 2 minus beta 2 into G1, and G4 is equal to H into F Tk alpha 3H, then Yk plus beta 3 G2 plus gamma 3 G3 plus alpha 3 minus beta 3 minus gamma 3 into G1. So these are the 4 terms of G1, G2, G3, G4. Then it has to satisfy that the Taylor series expansion Yk plus 1 is equal to Yk plus H into Yk dash plus h square by 2 Yk double dash plus h cube by 3 factorial Yk triple dash, then h to the power 4 by 4 factorial Yk. So it has to, this is the approximation we are taking. Now if you put these values of Yk and also take the Taylor series expansion of f tk plus alpha 1 h yk alpha 1 g1. So, this function again Taylor series expansion first order, then from here to here first order Taylor series expansion, then here to here again first order Taylor series expansion. So, that means you are finding out all this in terms of this, then you will eventually get some equations, and from these equations you can derive the value of alpha, beta, gamma, W1, W2, W2, W3, W4, etc. So, this turns out to be a fourth order Rangakuta method. One typical values of W1, W2 in fourth order Rangakuta method is this: W1 is equal to W4 is equal to 1 by 6. I am not going into detail, as I said, you can refer to any book for details. There are very standard textbooks available, 1 by 2 numerical methods which will tell you about this. Then gamma 3 is equal to alpha 3 is equal to 1 and beta 3 is equal to 0. So, this is a typical set of parameters for fourth order Rangakuta method. It is basically trying to do interpolation of the function between two consecutive points, that is tk and tk plus 1, that is kh and k plus 1 into h, where h is the step size, and doing this interpolation it is trying to approximate as good as possible, so that as best as possible, so that the error is really less. And these are the two standard methods which are universally used in engineering to solve differential equations. So, I can just list few of the ODE solvers, as you can see, help fun you can see the ODE solvers out here. Let me make more on, then again CLC, then let me help again. You can see just here are the ODE solvers, as you can see here. ODE 4-5, this is for solving non-stiff and stiff, we will discuss about it later on. What is a stiff differential equation and what is non-stiff? When a function changes, suppose there is a function, a differential equation results in a function like this, it is invariably will result into a differential equation which is non-stiff. But suppose this function is like this, something, then there is a sudden jump of the function, and like this, there it is a continuous function, but there is a sudden change in derivatives here. So, therefore, this results into a very stiff differential equation, and this depends upon certain parameters of the equation. So, it basically depends upon the roots of the differential equation on the left side, and whenever it is nonlinear, because of some nonlinearity, when the coefficients of the differentiations is a function of either the dependent variable or independent variable, that becomes a nonlinear equation. So, in these nonlinear equations, sometimes when you find out the roots at every step, so you will find the roots will change. So, roots will change means sometimes the roots may become very high or it will become very large. So, that results into very ill conditioning, and therefore, stiff differential equations. Therefore, ODE up to there are so ODE 4-5 is a medium order method, ODE 2-3 is a lower order method, ODE 1-1-3 is for variable order method. You can change the variable, you can see this. ODE 2-3 is for solving stiff ODEs and differential algebraic equation, we can see by trapezoidal rule. ODE 1-5s is again stiff for stiff solution, variable order method. Then ODE 2-3s again solving stiff differential equation, lower order method, and ODE 2-3b solving stiff differential equations, lower order method. So, these are the different equations. So, now we will try to solve a differential equation before discussing other problems like the partial differential equations or boundary value problems and initial value problems. So, let us take a very interesting equation called van der Pol's equation. You can see I have just opened this in Wikipedia. You can see here, let me just increase the view little bit, text size larger, let me make it, you can just have a look here, or if I just make it largest, yeah, that is it. So, you can see here, this is from Wikipedia, you can see this is called the van der Pol equation. You can look at here, I can just write, this is named after somebody called van der Pol, he is a Dutch physicist, as you can see. So, he finds out, he describes a differential equation like this: d square x by dt square plus mu into x square minus 1 dx by dt plus x is equal to 0. So, there is nothing in the right hand side. So, in electrical engineering or any engineering science, these differential equations describe generally systems. And as you see, this is a nonlinear differential equation because one of the coefficient is a function of the dependent variable x. And this differential equation does not have a forcing function, there is nothing in the right hand side. If there is something in the right hand side, then we call it a forcing function. So, this forcing function will be responsible for driving this value x anywhere. But here there is no forcing function, but definitely there will be some initial condition. That means, what is the value of x 0 and what is the value of dx by dt at time t is equal to 0. So, this is called otherwise x 0 and x dot 0. So, these two values will be specified, this cannot be 0. So, once these two values are specified, this equation will describe an oscillator, a nonlinear oscillator, right. So, this will describe one nonlinear oscillator. So, we can just do something on it, and also you can see this in math world. You can see the differential equation here. As you can see, this is your nonlinear oscillator. You can see for different values of mu's, this is the mu is the parameter. For different values of these parameters, this will behave differently. So, this shows the y versus, you can, x is the dependent variable, this shows y versus t or x versus t, you can say. This is x is the dependent variable here, independent variable, and y is the dependent variable. So, here it diverges, and you can see it starts from 0 0 and it goes on and it oscillates finally. So, these are called limit cycles. So, when mu is equal to 1, it oscillates differently, when mu is equal to 5, it oscillates differently. So, for different values of mu, the oscillation is different. So, this is an interesting problem. When mu becomes 0, this becomes a simple harmonic motion. As you can see, mu becomes 0 here, in this case mu is equal to 0. So, d square x by dt square plus x is equal to 0, this is a simple harmonic motion. We will study this particular equation for different values of mu, right. So, let us write down this equation. Here is the equation, you can see this is the equation. Okay. So, first of all, this equation I wanted to make it in this form, but this is not in this form. So, we have to convert this equation into this form. This is our first step. So, for this we need to do some little bit of manipulations. We have to represent this in the form of some other variables. Let us try to do it. So, your wonderful equation. So, what I shall do is, I will take one variable x1 to be equal to x and x2 to be equal to dx by dt, or I can take let me take not x1, let me take y1 and y2 to be dx by dt. So, I will take y1 to be x and y2 to be dx by dt. This is my substitution. Then I shall represent the whole thing, the whole system of equations which I discussed earlier, in this form: y dot is equal to some function of t and y. What is y? Y is a vector y1, y2. And what is f? F is also a vector f1 and f2. So, this is basically a vector equation which is in the form of desired form which we want, right. So, this y is a vector, right. So, let me do it. So, what is y1 dot? So, y1 dot is equal to y1 dot is equal to, that is dx by dt, is it not, which is equal to y2. This is my equation 1. Then what is y2 dot? Y2 dot is d square x by dt square, is it not, because I have chosen y1 to be equal to x and y2 to be dx by dt. So, y1 dot means, yeah, dot of this, y2 dot means dot of this, again differentiation of this. So, what is d square x by dt square? So, from this equation, as you can see, d square by dt square. So, this whole thing I can take to the right. So, this is equal to, you can look at here. So, I can write this thing to right. So, this will be minus mu into x square minus 1 into dx by dt minus x. So, this turns out to be minus mu. I can add x square is y1 square minus 1, dx by dt is y2 minus y1. So, I got these two equations, y1 dot is equal to y2, y2 dot is equal to this. Is that clear? So, let me write down in the matrix form now. So, in the matrix form I can write y dot is equal to, the first one is y2, the second one is minus mu y1 square minus 1 into y2 minus y1. So, this is a function of or f of t and y. Time is exclusively not specified here, but sometimes you could have a function of time somewhere multiplied here or here somewhere t, suppose tx or something like that. So, time would have appeared here, or in the right hand side if you would have some function which is function of time, for example sin t, cosine t, etc., which would have appeared here, right. So, this is a function of, generally this is a function of t and y. So, we have to write this function, that means we have to write this function in MATLAB first before solving ODE. So, let us use ODE 4.5 to solve this equation. So, let us go to ODE 4.5. So, I will just use ODE 4.5. So, more of I shall do help ODE 4.5. So, if you see the help, it is showing like this: t out, y out, ODE 4.5, ODE fun, that function which describes this form y dot is equal to fty in this form. T span is the time span from final to initial to final, y0 is the initial value. So, then there are various things like options, etc. We will not discuss options right away, which will tell you how to, what to specify in the option, and this time span just gives the initial and final time. We do not have to worry about in between. It will take the differential equation, make some analysis, and accordingly find out the time step. It will automatically find out its time step, right. So, let us try to solve this equation. You can take this example, for example, VDP1 is the equation which is there. So, you can write already VDP1 is somewhere. This is the VDP1 van der Pels equation, as you can see already there. So, this function I am going to write. So, let me write file new. First I will write a function. Let us write y dot is equal to fn1. Let me write fn1 t comma y, because it is a function of t and y, as I can say, is it not? So, I can write y dot, that is the first variable, is equal to y2, is it not? And y dot 2, that is the second variable, is equal to, so you can write parameter mu. So, you can write mu as global here, so that you can define in the main program. If you define mu global here, you can define mu in the change in mu in the main program, it will change here. So, this is equal to minus mu, remember multiplication, and this is y1 square minus 1. So, this is y1 square. When you make square, make dot square, because what this particular routine does, that is ODE 4.5, it will vectorize y. So, therefore, it will send a vector in place of y1 and try to solve it. Therefore, you should make a dot, always remember minus 1 again multiplied by dot multiplication y2 element by element multiplication minus y1. So, this is what the function is. And one more thing, please you please remember is y1 square minus y1. Okay. So, one more thing you must remember is this has to return always this function. Let me see this function. This function will have input as time, let us say 0.1 the time, then two variables, two values of y, fn1, it is not showing anything. Let me see, there is some mistake somewhere. Let me find out what is the mistake. I have not given the value of mu, so I can write mu is equal to 0.1. Yeah, it is giving two values now. Now it is correct. So, only thing is, now the point is, it is giving a row matrix, but it should always give a column matrix. That is the ODE 45 wants that way. Therefore, you have to convert this whole thing into a column matrix. So, one way to convert this matrix to column matrix is you can write like this. This is the way you can convert the whole thing into a column matrix, okay, or because this is 1 1. So, you are specifying explicitly that this is a column matrix. So, this is working. So, mu you can just for the timing you can make mu here, you can comment. So, now you write your main program new m file. So, here you want to solve. So, clear all, close all, CLC. So, you define your time span. You can take a time span, let us say you can take how much it has taken in the example, you can just see that. You can see the time span around, it has taken a 0 to 20 as a time span. So, you can take a t span 0 to 20. Initial values you can give y 0, 2 values you must give. So, that is I am giving 2 as y and 0 as the y dot, that is initial values. Okay, then I can solve. Now I can call the routine. So, if I call, so this is the way you can call here. So, here it is Fn1. This is the one which you want to call, right? Not here. It is in others. Okay. Then you have to define one mu here. You can write mu to be 0.1 and give try to the second trial. Then you can plot t comma y first column, then you can plot t y second column. Solve it. Global, I have to describe mu as global here, global mu and on. You can see this. This is one, blue is, as you know, the blue is the first one is t and that is dy by dt. So, as I said, when you make mu very small, this is just like an oscillator, simple harmonic oscillator. So, both are actually it is behaving like a sinusoidal, you know. Now, phase difference is exactly 90 degree. So, this is just a sinusoidal thing. So, grid on you can write. But if you as you increase mu, make it 1 or 10, say make it 10, you can see this behaves like it does not behave like an oscillator any longer. You can take a longer thing, you can make mu is equal to 1, let us say. This is the van der Pol equation solution. It is beautiful. It is not a now no longer a simple harmonic oscillator. It is a different kind of oscillator which oscillates like this. If you reduce the time span, let us say make it 2, you can see. T span, you write T span here. If you increase, let us say you increase to 10, see what is happening. In that case, increase the time span to 50, it behaves like this. So, let us solve the one which you just saw here, that is let us make the phase plot for mu is equal to 0.2, see what is happening, and we will solve up to 100 seconds. We will solve up to 100 seconds, make mu is equal to 0.2 first. First you plot it. Point 5, point 7, so if you make the initial values all 0 0, see This you make y0. So you make y0, see what is happening. There is no, make it small, make it very small, initial value. You can see it is trying to resemble the one which you have seen. We have started with a very small initial value of y0. You can see if you start with a small, you can see slowly the oscillations are building up and it is stabilizing. And if you make a phase plot, this is subplot. You can make a phase plot. You go to subplot 2 and 2, then make a phase plot. Comment y. Comment will make a phase plot of y1 and y2. You can see. This is the phase plot. You can SHG. SHG will show the graph immediately. You can plot it here again so that you will appreciate it better. You can see the phase plot, or if you just plot it, you can see this is the phase plot. Okay. So if you make mu, let's say mu as 0.2 or something, you can see the phase plot. So which was resembling the one which you just saw in the math world. You can see. If you make it mu is equal to 1, you can also see the plot. Make mu is equal to 1, see the phase plot, etc. This is the phase plot, and that's what you saw here, is it not? This is the phase plot, right? So you can see that this is a beautiful example of solution of differential equations. So what are the steps? The first step is to reduce the whole thing in the form of this and write a function y dot is equal to fn1 ty. If it is a higher order equation, then you have to first check several variables and reduce it to this form and then solve it. So thank you very much. So next class we will again discuss about differential equations, the initial value problems, and stiff differential equations. We will try to make use of some other functions. Thank you very much.